You could have told me that now because I would have been like.
These are high quality.
Oh wow! Yes, that was good.
The thing about it is, you cannot embarrass me.
All right. Let's start.
You have permission to share it because I can do it.
Oh, I'm only sharing
Make sure you zoom in on that.
I do. Second one here.
You got a gavel, Jared?
There's an official one somewhere.
How's this? Better? All right. 9:14, we call business meeting to order. 9:14. We'll start with the agenda.
There are 48 delegates in these departments and no alternates. Everyone who is credentialed, there may be not have the name tag, but if you have a name tag, you're a delegate. The one that's the next sticker. Check it. Oh, the equivalent
Vibrate is all trouble.
majority is 25 and 2/3 is 33 and 7/8 is 32. Majority is 25, 2/3 is 33, 7/8 is 32.
That's okay, cool. I asked him, but he was busy.
All right, we will now move to the agenda. It's our standing order of business.
I move to amend the agenda to insert the executive director's report after the chairman's report and to insert lunch after the platform committee report.
Is there any objection to that? I'll take it well. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take it. So, take this to those in favor of the agenda as shown on the screen.
I'll read it out to everyone. So we've got the special rules report for 15 minutes, the chairman's report 20 minutes, the executive director's report 20 minutes, the treasurer's report 20 minutes, the bylaws and rules committee report 60 minutes, platform committee report 60 minutes, lunch 60 minutes, nomination of party candidates 60 minutes, election of party officers 45 minutes, election of district executive committee members 30 minutes, election of at-large executive committee members 30 minutes, election of delegates to national convention 60 minutes, resolutions 15 minutes, other business 15 minutes, and adjournment.
The agenda as shown. Please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries. The agenda is adopted.
I think a potentially large time saver is at the moment we have exactly as many people signed up to be national delegates as there are delegate slots. So if no one else signs up, that means we can elect them as a slate. So that 60 minutes could be reduced potentially down to a couple minutes.
That never made that work.
I will yield the floor to Mr. Placey for a special rule.
So this big thank you to the other members of the Bylaws and Rules Committee report. That would be Jim Sheehan, Sergio Ortega. We get to do this one right at the beginning because it only has to do with convention rules. And specifically, this proposal is drastically simplifying the verbiage in the convention rules about how the bylaws and platform committee proposals work. So right now, there's a lot of these themselves that I don't think ever are really used or anyone knows about. And the rules for the bylaws committee and the platform committee proposals during convention, even though they are very similar, are in two different sections and are mildly different, which just makes it very difficult to keep track of. So what the bylaws committee has done here is simplified the rules for how that works. And I will also say, I know this is very hard to read, the platform report and the bylaws report are both available on Basecamp in the, right, that's a much better place for them. That's what I should have said. They're both on the website and they were also both emailed out to all the membership a few months ago. So if you would like the link, I'm sure we can get that to you. But yeah, that's, please vote for this amendment to the convention rules. Yeah, so specifically, what we are doing is rewriting Rule 5 to be debate and voting on bylaws and platform committee reports. And we are striking rule 6 and 7. Well, we're striking the old rules 5, 6, and 7. So rule 5 features rule 6, debate and voting bylaws and rules, and rule 7, voting platform. And we're writing a new rule 5 called debate and voting on bylaws and platform committee reports, and then to replace all 3 of the rules that are being stricken.
Point of information. Is this the rule proposal that includes strict time limits for debate on bylaws committee proposals and platform committee proposals?
Yes, so this is the rule that deals with that. The time limits are not being changed. It's currently 8 minutes for bylaws and 15 minutes for platform, and both of those time limits are being maintained in the proposal.
I'm looking for them in the old version.
So in the current bylaws, the time limits for bylaws and rules are in Rule 6, and the time limits for platform are in Rule 7 of Appendix B of the bylaws.
It's the 3-column version, so the first column is current.
I'm looking for them, yes. Read it out again.
Please do.
WP.
Oh wait, no, don't do that. There should be.
Stop where you are.
There should be a link at the bottom of the main page, but I'm just going to confirm that.
So I'll say thank you for these,
All right, so don't do that.
bylaws.
Yeah.
All broken away.
Bylaws. I have a few more copies of bylaws, so anyone, bylaws? There you go. Including the special rule.
Okay, so for anyone who does have Basecamp, I did just post both the reports into
Is that the same thing?
This is how much you can.
Let's leave that line. Hold on, this one. One line.
Yes, my favorite is, all right, everybody, we are, for the sake of here. So we're speaking in favor.
Hi, hi, I'm Sergio Ortega. I'm on the bylaws committee. So my favorite change of this amendment is that it now allows for dissenting reports to be easily issued. So previously, so like a bylaws report, if any member wanted to dissent, they required 2 people to issue a dissenting report. Now this past bylaws committee was 3 people. So 2 people would have been the majority. So there was no opportunity for a dissenting report. Now the language is changed so that it just requires a majority of the losing side to issue a report. So if there was, in this past bylaws committee, 2 votes in favor and one vote against, that one person can issue a report, contribute their side, and to say why you should not vote for this bylaws report. And the same goes for the platform committee. It required 4 people. I don't even know if the platform committee had 1 to 4 people. So, I mean, the language is now changed to like simple majority instead of set number. So that's why I support the amendment.
Yes. Like a.
Just for now. Just a lot of you are going to
We're like the board of legislation. We make things
Okay, so does everybody have access to it? Okay, it's been moved. Okay, does not require a second. Is there any debate? If there's no debate, I will close debate and we'll take it to a vote. Those in favor of the amendment, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, the motion carries. The bylaws and the special rules of order are All right, so we have a chair's report. Let me just a second. So I'll try and make this short and sweet for us. Let's see, there we go. I'll try and make it short and sweet for us, because I know we all have a tight schedule today, but I do want to thank everyone for coming out today. It's always good to see everybody participating in the process. So again, thank you for coming out. Thank you for being a part of the process. It really is appreciated, and it's great to be able to give you guys what's going on, what's happened over the past year. So again, thank you. While we're thanking people, I'd also like to thank a lot of the people who have made a lot of things happen this past year. So first things first, we had a big implementation of a self-hosted CRM, city CRM, transferring from national infrastructure to our own. So I want to thank Andy Bolden, first and foremost, who's done a fantastic job keeping the project in line, keeping things moving ahead. I want to thank Kyle for helping out with, I'm sure, a ton of the techie stuff on the back end of that. Thank you to everyone who tested. I know there were several people who tested on that site to check it out, make sure everything was good. I know you did a lot of that, so thank you. Yeah, that was a big project, and it really was a big deal to get that onto our own self-hosted infrastructure so that we could have all of the things, control of everything that we wanted to do, being able to make sure when we had errors, when we had issues, non-compliance for payment card industry stuff, that we can solve it on our own. When we have issues with the payment gateway and things like that, that we have our own ability to take that on. So it really is going to be a game changer for us. So it's really exciting to have that and to be able to move in the right direction and really have control of a lot of the things that we didn't have control of before. So I'm excited about it. Hopefully everyone else is as well. If you are an affiliate leader, or you are one of the directors, or you're on the executive committee, you have access to the CRM. You can see everyone in your respective role. You can see everyone if you're an affiliate leader, you can see everyone in your affiliate or in your area. So if you want that information, if you're trying to get your affiliate off the ground, if you're trying to recruit, if you're trying to get people on board, if you're a candidate and you want information for people who have signed up to be on our lists, get in touch with us. We'll get you into the CRM and we'll help you get through the system and check everything out and then be able to pull down your own data. I want to thank Brian for the Public Policy Committee. If you guys are not on Liberty Watch, get on the Liberty Watch newsletter. It is fantastic. It's available on Substack, and we have a list that's going out on a regular basis on email. Get with Brian. It's been a fantastic thing. There's so much detail, so many different things that are going on. If you're not paying attention, you can't keep up with what is actually happening at the Gold Dome. But Brian has been doing the work for that. He's been going to the state capitol. He's been lobbying legislators for our legislative agenda. So he's been doing fantastic work. If you want to get involved on the Public Policy Committee, also get in touch with him. There's a ton that needs to be done. A lot of the reports, a lot of the things that are going on behind the scenes, he's taken on a lot of that, but there is a ton that you can help with. Zane, I want to thank you for your secretary work, all the things that you've done on this side of things, keeping the minutes. That's been awesome. I'd also like to thank Mark Mosley for coming in clutch, getting our books clean, keeping them clean, giving us reports every month, and then incrementally helping to move the ball forward. A lot of things like card declines and things like that. So that's been a really good thing, and we're really appreciative for him. There he is, the man. So I'd like everybody to just give a hand for those people. Thank you for those things. Also, for our fantastic convention, I'd like to thank Tim, He's back there in the back.
Nope.
He's waving his hands.
No.
He wants all of the applause.
Fuck that.
And also Tiffany Gore, who has, Tiffany did a lot of work on this, finding a lot of the venue and all of the pricing and all of those kind of things, the activities. So thank you as well. Convention is one of the hardest things to do. I'd say convention and treasurer are like two of the hardest things in the party. So props to anyone who does those. It's definitely needed. Cool. So like I said, we've implemented a self-hosted CRM this year. That's a really exciting thing. Like I said, it's good. It's been, we're getting onboarded and everything. Need help with it. That's going to be something that you guys are going to want to really check out. It's going to eventually have a user login. It's going to be where you can go check your own data. You can see what your status is, so that if you are canceled or your payments aren't going through, you know immediately and you can let us know. And then it keeps you from having to email us and then us tell you. So we're really excited about that. I'd also like to call out the Great Create this past year was really fun. Thank you, Elizabeth, for doing that. That was a really awesome time. If you guys haven't done the Great Create, you really should. Basically, it's our DIY Freedom Festival. Whoa, lost the words there. Thank you. Yes, so it's basically do it yourself, bring your own stuff, be free, learn ways to make yourself free. And it really does give you an opportunity to hear from people who maybe aren't in the party, but who really do care about liberty, who care about freedom, who care about the day-to-day things that you can do to get out of the system in the small ways, to avoid surveillance in the small ways, to know how to take care of yourself in the small ways, having silver and gold, or having medicinal herbs and things that you can do. So that's a big one. That was a really good job that Elizabeth did. She's done 3 of those, and every time it's a really good time. And again, Liberty Watch, one more time, is another big thing we're doing here. It's our newsletter for everything going on legislatively. Please do check. Part is you. We need you to be involved. If you're here, we need you in a local affiliate. We need you getting out there, talking to your county commission, talking to your city council. We need you running for those positions. We need everyone to be fighting for liberty where you are. So if you're not involved in an affiliate, if you're not regularly attending one of those, if you're not going to city council, county commission, or the state capitol, get involved. Ask us how. We would love to help you to get involved on that front. It's a good time, and if you start becoming effective, it's even more. So there are a lot of things you can get. Small wins, you can get big wins. But it takes showing up. It takes getting out there and talking to the people doing one maliciously, or maybe they just don't know. And so you can be a part of that. So ask us how. We would love to help you get started on an affiliate. We'd love to get you moving forward in your affiliate if you are not already moving along on something, some kind of project. Also, another way to get involved, get on a committee. We have several committees: public policy, candidate support, outreach, youth engagement, communications. We have all kinds of things that can be done and that need to be done on a regular basis. There are directors in place, but we need committees as well. We need people taking on things so that things can run smoothly, things can run efficiently, and we can move the ball forward in tangible ways. And last but not least, we need you to donate. The party can't change the world if you can't keep the lights on, right? Number one thing, we need everybody. If you're at $3 a month, jump to 10. Try it out. 2 coffees a month instead of 1, right? If you're at 10, try 15. If you're at 15, try 20, right? Those kind of things, it seems small, But that all adds up. It helps us keep the lights on so that we can actually do the things that we want to do. And if you have special projects in mind that you want to fund specifically, talk to us. We will work on getting those projects out the door and making something happen with it. So I'd like to thank everybody for being here one more time. I'd like to thank you for getting involved in advance. And I want to encourage everybody, get involved, make Liberty happen. It's on us. No one else can do it. No one else will do it if it's not us. So we're the ones in the party. We're the ones who've gotten here, who have gotten involved. Take the next step. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Motley-Gavin-Moore, the Executive Director of Delta, Georgia. Welcome. It's good to see everyone here. All right, let's start out by talking about affiliate support. Our affiliate support director is David Barker. And some of our accomplishments this year are moving toward regional affiliates. We have individual affiliates that sometimes struggle, especially some of the ones in the less populated counties. So we're working to pull some of those together so that we can create more continuity and get them more active and busy. We are also trying to beef up the monthly leadership meetings. So if you are an affiliate leader, please try to make an effort to have at least one representative from your affiliate come to the virtual meeting. It's, once a month. It doesn't take very long, and it builds a lot of camaraderie and helps us all to work together and get to know one another. So I would like to talk a little bit about some of our affiliates and the work they've been doing. Bartow Colt Floyd has really absolutely knocked it out of the park this year. They have done ballot access petitioning. They have had a river cleanup and kayak trip. They have volunteered for Habitat for Humanity, done gun show tabling. They were the host affiliate for the Great Create. They have done all sorts of political things in their community. Lost opposition campaigns, lost misuse of public comment, and they have also done anti-surveillance initiatives with the Ministry Brother Project. Fulton County has provided testimony at the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, specifically Brian Allen, Pat Hartley, and Victoria Salvia speaking there. They also did a mayoral candidate meet and greet. Chattahoochee Valley is working with their local council on several initiatives, getting accessory dwelling units legalized. They have had success by having the poultry laws changed, so now you can have backyard chickens. And they are also working on anti-surveillance initiatives. Greater Athens has done ballot petitioning. Savannah has done tabling events. They did a county commission tax protest. They are also working with Ministry Brother on anti-surveillance initiatives. Gwinnett hosted a school board candidate forum and a 3D printing workshop. So if you're not involved with a local affiliate, I encourage you to do so. That's kind of the backbone. This is where we build community and get to know one another. We come together every once in a while on the state level, but the local affiliates are where you really build relationships. And thanks, David Barker, for hosting that, or heading that up, I should say. The director of the Ballot Access Committee is Mark Mosley. He would like to emphasize that success in this regard relies upon greater participation. It is very important that we do local initiatives and that we get out and we try to do petitioning. Thanks to Carrie for the communications, Carrie McLean for communications. We have a communications relations strategy that has been into place. We put out 11 newsletters, 17 podcast episodes, and 20 Liberty Watch reports. Thanks to Laura Owens, who heads up the fundraising committee. She has really knocked it out of the park. We have a full schedule coming up in the next year for regular fundraising emails as well as a card mailer. Thanks to Doug Craig for funding that for us. We did a physical mailer this year for $463.80 and a last member email $733. Also, Sergio, I think that you played a big part in making a lot of that happen, so thank you, sir. Andy, what can we say? He has dedicated so much time. This has been a huge project. So, getting our new city CRM implementation in place, we now have control over our website and data. There are a few things, because anyone that's worked in IT knows this is not something that happens on a dime. There's incrementally, there's a lot of testing involved. I think that there's probably a few outstanding things, but we are so well on our way to having that. We are now have PCI compliance, and we are switching from authorized.net to Stripe. And this is totally going to be such a game changer for us. The old CRM, it wreaked havoc with our membership numbers, with just accurate information. It was impossible to have that, and I cannot emphasize enough how important it is that this is now in place. Membership, this new technology is so important for membership because we could not have accurate membership numbers without it. The old one was, it would lapse people. It just was so totally unreliable. People thought they were members and they weren't. And again, I cannot emphasize how important this new city CRM is for us having accurate data. Gretchen, who I don't believe she is here today, but she did an interest-based survey locally, and this is something that we want to try to use as a model to make it statewide. And she has done some work with the membership levels. I am the Director of Outreach. We did the Great Create, which Jared mentioned. LP Georgia Range Day, thanks to Edgar. Edgar, I know that you're here. What a celebrity you are among us all for helping us with this fundraiser. It's a great time. Not only a great time, but it's a great fundraiser. And Edgar very generously allows us to do this through his business every year, sometimes twice a year. We have also done virtual events covering privacy and how to write Open Records Act requests. Public policy. I cannot emphasize enough how much energy Brian puts into public policy, how much time it takes to do that Liberty Watch report, how many times he goes to the Capitol and shows up at the Capitol. He writes the State of the State response. Also, there are other people that work with him. Sergio, I know, has also shown up to do testimony at election reform. Brian has done ranked choice voting testimony, the ballot access committee presentation. Brian did that, and Mason, thank you also for showing up for that. And I feel like there's one other thing that I left off, the income tax, okay. So, yeah, I think Brian is a man. So I have insomnia, and I can't tell you the number of times that I'm sitting there on my computer at 2 o'clock in the morning, and Brian is like, he's actually out there. Oh, you're here. Let me ask you about this. So yeah, he puts a lot of hours into this. Okay, so youth engagement is something that we haven't really done a lot, but we are just trying to get this off of the ground. Some of the plans for moving forward are social media engagement and homeschooling outreach. Now, we do like with policy and so forth, homeschooling, but we want to have a very specific, just for the homeschooling youth to get involved. We are working on an essay contest for Banner Street Brother. We are setting a Twitch channel, and we would like to see attendance at youth events, specifically Students for Liberty and Young Americans for Liberty. So 4 of us were actually at the Young Americans for Liberty Summit earlier this year. Unfortunately, the people that were there were not young people, so we would like to get young people involved. And so this is, you know, the next generation of libertarians is very important. And so, yeah, hopefully these plans are going to be fully implemented moving forward. So one of the things that I'm currently working on is a volunteer program. We get people through the website and so forth that say that they would like to volunteer, but there hasn't been a process in place to make that happen. So we need volunteers, but we also need to be able to match volunteers to necessary roles. Because people, if they come forward, and I try to personally call everyone who sends in a form and says that they want to volunteer and find out about them, you know, what kinds of things are you good at, what kinds of things are you interested in doing, and then match them. But in order to do that, we need to know what to match them to. We need to know what the directors need help with. And if you are not necessarily a director, but a project leader, we need you to say, this is what we need. And so we're trying to put a process in place through Basecamp where directors and project leaders can put out there, this is what we need. And then I can go out there and say, or whoever is leading the volunteer program can go out there and say, okay, this is what we have available. I just spoke to this person and we need to match them. This looks like a good fit. Do the introductions. So I know that in the past we would just say, okay, well, this is the director of this committee, and that connection might be made or not be made. So there is an effort here to put a lot of time into making sure that these people get a personal phone call, that they know that they are heard, that we want to take their talents and their interests into consideration, and also help the directors. A lot of the directors are trying to do things all on their own. And it's people, we have too few people wearing too many hats. So if you're not involved with a member, with a committee specifically, please reach out to me, reach out to the committee directors, and try to find a space where you can volunteer. Okay, the candidate support committee is currently vacant. Brian and I have been fielding a lot of those requests and those calls. And since we're at convention and we're going to be talking about platform and bylaws, I don't really need to cover what's going on there. We're about to find out what's going on there. But I do want to acknowledge Tim and Zane for the roles that they play in those committees. And last but not least, I want to announce that I am going to be stepping down as executive director to take a different position. And, well, first of all, I want to thank people because I know that there have been so many people in the past 4.5 years that have been exceedingly kind to me, that have worked with me to support what we have done, and we have done an awful lot. And know that I appreciate you and that I consider a good many of you to be lifelong friends. And I don't think that this is going to be the end for us. I am going to continue on to lead the Bannish Big Brother project. And Mason and I have a lot going on in LP Chattahoochee Valley. So I'm going to continue in that work until I'm either replaced or the next convention. So it has honestly been a privilege to be able to work in this position. I appreciate those of you who are so supportive of me, and hopefully this is not the end.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth. We're very sad to hear the news, but we wish you the best going forward. We thank you for all the great work you've done for the past 4.5 years. So she's put in a ton of work, done a ton of things, built a ton of infrastructure behind the scenes, doing all the things that basically no one else wants to do, but she's taken a ton of projects on, and we really appreciate it. So again, thank you for all your time. All right, we're going to move on to the treasurer's report.
Good morning, guys. First of all, thank you guys for electing me last year. It's been a little rough year this past year, and I would like to thank a couple of people, Kyle Davis and Mark Mosley, for kind of stepping up and really stepping in there and taking over what the treasurer's job for last year. I'm going to here in a second bring Mark Mosley up here to give this report, but I just wanted to say thank you guys. I appreciate it. Mark Mosley has done a great job bailing me out, and I really do appreciate it. I can't express how much I appreciate it. Over the last 20-30 years I've known Mark, he's always stood up when needed, and this last year he's done a great job. So I'd like to bring Mark Mosley up here to present this report. If you have any questions for me, hit me up and ask me, but Mark has all the knowledge. I appreciate it. Here you go.
So, thank you, guys.
I'll let you have this.
Is my voice carried good enough?
Speak in the microphone, please.
Ryan, can you hear me good?
Okay, but the microphone would be better.
The internet people are good.
You got a couple notes back here.
All right, is it better?
Yeah.
No,
Okay,
speak
thank
into
you.
the
All right. First of all,
Turn it on.
it's on.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I hate these things. I always mess them up and move it around. So I'll just holler at me if I do. I want you to know that I'm honored today to present to you the highlight of your weekend, the convention's treasures. So we're gonna have a lot of fun, a lot of detail to cover. It's important that the body understands what we're facing, because it's a little difficult with our credit card process, authorized on that. We'll go into detail about that, so you understand why it's an issue. Then we'll talk a little bit, or I would talk a little bit about developing our fundraising. Okay, so this is a summary of what we're doing. The situation we're in. We ended the year 2025 with financial loss. It's not super terrible, it's a couple grand loss. But it should not be happening at all. When I took over doing all this about a year, noticed a lot of confusion in the books. One of the things that I on next time, and all of you, is that what I call our discretionary revenue, very specific items. Discretionary revenue is membership fees, pledges, unrestricted donations. This is the money in the way they deem unnecessary. Okay? It's distinct from what you pay to come here to the convention. It is distinct from any contributions you make to, let's say, a ballot access fund. Or we've raised money for lawsuits in the past. That money is designated for that. This is money that the executive committee does not have the latitude to make decisions over. So, we need to shore up our discretionary revenue. We're in bad shape there, and I will show you details to help you understand that as we move on. Other people have mentioned this today. Our primary source of credit card acceptance, authorized.net, has gone rogue and is doing a whole bunch of stupid things. Okay? And I have a little history with that authorized.net. For those of you who don't know, I was the very first executive director of the LPGA. I was hired in September of 1998. And one of my monthly duties was to run credit card charges. Authorized.net back then. I would simply prepare a batch of credit card charges, submit them to authorized.net. I get a report back about who passed and who failed, and then I would follow up on the failures. Okay. Very different from what we're dealing with today. Simple then, ain't even remotely simple today. Okay. I'll give you more detail in a minute. Part of the problem with authorized.net is that they're charging absurd and complicated fees that none of it, most of it, a lot of it, we don't even understand what the charge is for. And this is big money. The other part that is bothering me about authorized.net is that regular pledges are being declined at a rate of about 40% every month. That I've never seen before. When I was doing this, I did it completely by myself. It might go to 10%. Okay, but 40%, something is wrong. And it's been about a couple of years, but the first person that really recognized that we had a problem was Elizabeth, and that was a couple of years ago. She has stated it a couple more times since then. I didn't really understand what she was talking about until I got involved in this. And roughly about July and August, I was telling the executive committee that something is very, very wrong with authorized.net. I have dived into this and I have brought to light a lot of detail what these problems are. And it's a little scary. All right. And the last thing is, we really have not been doing a very serious effort at fundraising. Okay? This is on us. Okay? Our fundraising should be ongoing, robust, permanent, and persistent. Okay? It has not been, and that's not just something recent. It has always been a problem in the LPGA. Ever since I've been involved, which was goes from the mid-90s to today. All right, let's see. All right, so the revenues for this. Very, very badly need to develop the fundraising program that I just described. Okay. We do this continuously with a robust commitment and processes. And we do this persistently, even if we're disappointed in some of our results. We continue. I'll just give you a common thing that I've known in the past. A handful of people get together and say, we're going to do some fundraising. Way back when I was executive director, people would come into our office and they do phone banking. They'd spend a night. They'd raise, I don't know, $700 to $800 or so. Everybody get all excited because they got a good result. That was a really cool thing. And that was it. Okay, I mean, that's cool, but we got to keep doing this. All right. So is something I've learned in the last months that needs to change. We need to attend to our pledge program with more detail. That means we need to know the status of our pledgers, who passed, who failed, and communicate with people to resolve issues. That needs to be continuous, not just once every 6 months. All right. Authorize.net, this situation, I'll discuss more in a minute. We've got to get this under control, and if necessary, terminate Authorize.net. I frankly think that's going to be the end game when the smoke clears. Authorize.net has basically gone rabid on us, and they're not doing us right. You'll see that clearly in a moment. Okay, let's move on to the next page. All right, the financial numbers. Scroll up just a little bit more. A little bit more. That's good. All the months of 2025. We have all of our income, this is everything. This is not what I call discretionary income. I'll speak to that more in a couple of minutes. So I've taken that. This is our operating expenses. Okay? And I've just netted them out, just did the arithmetic. You can see the numbers. We are not covering our operating expenses more than we are covering. Okay, that is not a sustainable situation. And for the year as a whole, you can look at the number. Okay. I believe this situation has been going on for probably a couple of years in the past, at least. So and I attribute that to our weak to non-existent fundraising. Okay, let's see. All right, all this is a year-to-date. This is just an income statement for those of you who know what that means. That's just all of our income, all of our expenses, all together, bottom line number. Okay. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. You can get this information, we have records of this, you can get it through me or through Brian or anybody at your request, okay? So let's go up one more. All right, this is a balance statement. The balance statement actually looks pretty good as measured by the money that we're supposed to have in the bank exactly matches what's in our own books. So we don't have a problem there. So, but I do want to call your attention to something. A financial person or an accountant would notice this. Look at that red number. That's something I superimposed on this report. I did that. It's right there. Everybody see that?
$11,000.
Okay. This line here, this particular account is intended to be a reserve account. And we are actually mandated in the policy manual to keep that at a certain level. Is it 15,000, right? So, okay, but anyway, this particular account is supposed to be at about $15,000, is my memory. And what I want to show you is that number is what the account was at on December 31st of 2024, a little over a year ago. Compare it with the actual number that was December 31st of 2025.
Well,
Read out the numbers.
I'm sorry, David.
Read out the numbers.
Okay. Uh, 8849, $8,849. That's what's in this reserve account as of December 31st. Right. So the policy manual requires us to keep this at 15,000. This number, $11,247 and pennies, is where it was at the end of 2024. Now, what this means is we're consuming our seed corn. Everybody get that?
Yep.
All right, we found rats in our seed corn, and nobody's been paying attention to it. So we got to fix that. I haven't looked at the number for the end of 2023 and further. My suspicion is, this is just instinct, that we've been on a downward trend here. All right, that is not good news, and it's kind of like it's a sign of ill health, sort of like having a scratchy throat, and that you just assume is no big deal. You don't attend to it, and then in a couple of weeks you end up having pneumonia. All right, so everybody should know that, pay attention to that. All right, but other than that, our balance, our bank accounts balance is what we're showing in our actual books. We're really good there. All right, what is this? All right, this I wanted to bring to everybody's attention. There was an event that's already been mentioned. Elizabeth was a key organizer, and a handful of the rest of you were involved in this too. I wanted to show you these numbers because this is what we are supposed to be doing. Okay, we had an event, and the guys organized it really well, put it together really well, managed the finances well, and we actually showed a net profit. Okay, we keep doing stuff like this. We can do this all the time. We just pile these out every month. We can do that. Elizabeth, every month. No, I'm neglecting the actual time and energy real people poured into this. But it may be that Elizabeth's group can do the recreate, and then I don't know. Ryan Graham can do one. He's an ambitious guy. So if we could do this, I want to emphasize that we can make this happen. We're good, and I wanted to commend the and thank you very much. All right, now let's get into the details about authorized.net. I'll try to be quick about this. Look at the bright green columns.
No.
Said what?
Color.
You can't read it at all. All right, saying don't spend too much time on that. I can deal with it vertically. Did that improve anything?
Not a lot, it's very clear.
Okay, I'll explain. This column is the total amount of money that was charged to authorized.net for each given month. It ranges from $2,700 to about $1,200, okay? All right. This is column for what I call the discount fee. So if you charge $100 for any credit card processor, you would expect to get, let's say, $95 actually in your bank account. We never see this money in our account, but that's what Authorized.net takes out. It ranges from, let's call it $150 to about $70.
More than 10%?
So what?
Are you saying that that's more than 10% when they took, when we charged 1,200, it charged us 150?
No, look at, you have to look at each month. So this is $1,200 and they charged $3.
Correct. Correct.
So it's not quite 10%.
Which is really high.
This is the actual,
3%.
this is the actual percentage that ranges from, it's 5 to 6%. Okay? With exception of these two pink boxes, notice to change, it authorizes, okay, I am literally doing the bookkeeping entries for all these. I see all this come through, okay? Change happened in the middle of November where Authorized.net is actually now taking out 10%, about 10% the discount. All right, I have no explanation for why, that's just what's happened. Okay, but that's on the high side of acceptable. But if that's all we had to deal with, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Move on to these khaki colored columns. These are fees that Authorized.net is actually taking out after the discount fee. Okay, and they're labeled, and I take these numbers right off the bank statements, and the bank statements. So there's actually 2 lines in the bank statements that's titled gateway fees. They happen every month. And if I sum these 2 lines, this is 1, this is 2. And they sum to be about from $40 to about $35. All right, when I add this to the discount fee, I get a little bit higher percentages I'm taking out. So now we're talking 7% to, last December it was 12%. That's the total cost of our credit card charges so far. I'm not finished. Okay.
Wait.
Yeah, there's more fun. P-H-U-N, fun. Okay. There's another line item that this comes straight out of the bank statements that I've called the mystery fee. We now know what it is, but when I first started figuring this out, I had no clue. I just saw this fee coming out and I didn't understand it. That fee ranges, well, the lowest one was $5. The highest one was taken out in November was $870. Okay. So when I add in this fee to all the rest of the stuff, the percentage of our charging, the percent that's being taken out by Authorized.net and the complex, there's more than Authorized.net involved, it turns out, ranges from 15% or 13% up to 46%. So that's rip-off territory.
Yeah.
Okay, that is intolerable. And just to enlighten your day a little bit more, on January the 2nd, it's not in this chart, this number was $850 plus. Okay? So these people are out of their minds. They've gone crazy. And it must be fixed. Okay, I'm just going to leave that there. Because I felt like the body needs to know this. This is an example of the state. This turns out that mystery fee is from a group. It's not Authorized.net, it's something else. And just one second. Okay.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to be.
I understand that. I was afraid I'd run over. Okay, so let's go, scroll down 2 more pages, 3 more pages. I just wanted to give you this example. This is a statement from this processor that's pulling all this money out of our account. There's a $10 gateway fee. We've already paid 2 gateway fees. They charged another one. There's some other stuff. This is PCI non-compliant, so y'all can ask me what that means later if you want to. This one is what's called an infrastructure upgrade fee, $450. Holy shit. None of us know what this is about. Okay? None of us. All right. So enough of that. I just want to clarify the big problem. This quantifies our declining issues. I'll just bottom line it. This is the total number of possible charges that come through the system for the last 8 months of the year. These are the declines. This is a percentage of the declines, and the column on the right is the dollar volume of all these declines if 100% of the declines had come through. So that is from 900 to 450. Okay. Major problem. The discretionary income and netting against our operating expenses, and I wanted to show you that for the year 2025 in total, our discretionary income has been less than our expenses by $4,500. Okay, so we have work to do. And I also, if you scroll up a couple more times, I'll be real quick. In 2024 and 2023, and I found similar numbers. So this has been a long-term issue. So if you don't get nothing else out of what I'm saying today, so what we're bringing in discretionary income is not covering our operating expenses. We got to work on that. All right. I'll leave it at that. I don't know how to deal with this, but interesting.
Sorry, you said you were wrapping up. Are you ready?
Well, we need to wrap it up, but sure, go ahead and ask your question.
Post these reports, our members should not have to ask you directly to get access.
I can give you a URL right now. They are on Basecamp, but they're the executive committee. You have access to it, Christine.
The next question, I think the most important question is, what do we do?
Okay. First of all, we're in the process of eliminating authorized.net. It's going to take another 6 weeks or so. What's going on with Civvy and what Andy's got going on, and we're just going to have patience. So I'm expecting that towards the end of February, I will see everything coming through Stripe. That's what. So that's that. The declines is a matter. I'm expecting that situation to change. So using Stripe, and I also have a program in mind to begin contacting these people that are. I've already done a little bit of that. I got some results, but I got my hands tied behind my back because of what we're waiting on with making this transfer. Okay, and also I have wanted to have Laura come up and speak for just a minute or two. If we can work it in to the time. Sure.
Basically, all of this is
going to be resolved this year with the implementation of the new city CRM, is that correct? And the move to Stripe.
I'm not willing to say that. I'm saying a lot of it will get, I'm optimistic that a lot of it will get resolved, but I'm not going to say that it will get resolved until I start processing the books. I start seeing to Stripe and Authorize.net.
But the PCI compliance issue, that has already been resolved, right?
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't mention that. December the 19th, we did get our first PCI, our first passing PCI scan result, which that's due to Andy and the work he's been doing. Previous to that, it had been ongoing for months. We've been failing that, and I was clueless about how to deal with it. Tiffany?
We looked through the contract with Authorize.net and submitted for refund. I mean, that's a lot of money gone.
Yeah, short answer is no. The longer answer is, yeah, glad to, but I've already put in like close to 300 hours, getting.
Can you put it out on, like, can we see the contracts that you as a party signed to utilize their platform?
Okay.
And somebody comes on, can we put it out there so that somebody can read through it?
The only thing in a way of that is manpower.
All you gotta do is put the contract on, the conversation, let somebody tell them, I'll tell them.
No.
It's there.
When I go into Authorize.net, the interface, it's madness. Okay, so I've gotten good at pulling out what I need, my work done. It could be that somebody with a different eye for detail can find that contract. It has to be somewhere. I totally agree with you. I just don't know where. But, so yeah. Tiffany, you're on.
We don't have it in our financial folders. In our legal folders, we don't have it.
Probably not. I'll leave it at that. But there's a lot of, you get into this stuff in detail, you'll find there's going to be a lot of stuff missing. Like, that, I won't get into this.
Yeah.
I really, if there's any time left, I really want Laura to speak for me. We can squeeze that in.
Is there any objection to allowing Ms. Owens to come up and speak? Hearing none.
Last thing.
Yes, that's it. That's it for this.
Hearing none, we are extending for 2 more minutes.
Okay. As Laura's making her way up here, I want to say, this is not particularly part of the treasurer's report, but it is synergistically critical to us solving these problems, what Laura's been doing. And I want her to speak to that, so.
Thank you. First, I just wanted to thank Ms. Christine Austin in particular for encouraging me to take on this role despite my lack of experience with it. And also thank our Chair Jared for appointing me to this role. In at least the recent past that I'm aware of, as Mark pointed out, fundraising has been done only occasionally, mostly at events like Great Create and the Range Day event, and that needs to change, especially now that we're having the budget shortfalls and the problems that Mark has just described. My goal as the Finance and Fundraising Director has been to get a system in place where we're doing fundraising consistently and nearly constantly. Every event that we have, every holiday, every time the state legislature does something that encroaches on our liberties, that is an opportunity for fundraising. The more money we have, the more money, more things we can accomplish. So far, we have sent out 2 paper mailers. We have sent emails out to lapsed members. One of the paper mailers was encouraging monthly contributions. We've emailed some of our top donors as well. That was a Giving Tuesday email. And I'm looking forward to doing even more with fundraising in 2026. There's even more things that we can do in this department. Of course, fundraising is not the only thing that will help with this. There are problems, as he's pointing out, with Authorize.net that need to be resolved. But fundraising is a big part of that. The more money we have coming in, as I said, the more things we can accomplish as a state party. We are competing with lobbyists that have deep pockets to get some of our policy accomplished. But if Jerry here would appoint me a second time, I have big plans for 2026 to get even more fundraising done in 2026. My goal is to top our successes in 2025.
Thank you, Laura. So y'all support Laura, Mr. Ken, and I appreciate your patience. And I will close with Zane. I warned you. Thank you for your time.
All right, well, if you like that, you're really gonna like this. Time for the rest of the bylaws report.
Yay.
So again, big thanks to Sergio and Jim for helping out on the committee this year. The overall philosophy of the committee, especially because this is an even-numbered year and we've got candidates to nominate, is we thought there was a lot of general improvements that could be made to the bylaws for people that actually have to use the bylaws. There is really nothing in here that substantially changes. We took an eye to some just operating efficiencies and streamlining. So hopefully that means there won't be too much debate on this, but I should know better to say that. All right, proposal one. Oh yeah, we've got the QR code back up there on the screen, so. And thank you very much to Chase for bringing out paper copies.
Emily. Yeah, thank Emily for doing that.
Thank you very much. Everyone got the QR code if you're gonna scan it? All right, proposal one. So, the rules for nominating candidates are actually in two different places in the bylaws. They're in Article 7, Section F, and they're in Rule 9 of Appendix B. And there are places where they contradict each other. So that's not great. And it's always good to have the requirements only written out one time and referenced in other places if you need to reference them somewhere else. So what we've done is in Article 7, Section F, we've taken out the requirements and then moved them into Rule 8. So specifically, we have taken out Article 7, Section 2, and then rewritten parts of Rules 9, 10, and 12 in Appendix B. And the one substantive change that we did make here was that our current system for the way that the ballots work for candidates and officers, it could result in a lot of rounds that don't really do much of anything because you're not guaranteed to actually eliminate people every round. So all we did was replace our current method with the method that select a presidential nominee. So that is a system that works well and we could also use. Yeah, that's, I will move to adopt this proposal on behalf of the Bylaws Committee.
Perfect. We have now.
I mean, it had been 8 minutes before, but it is 8 minutes for debate.
So we have 8 minutes, no amendments for this 8 minutes, speaking for and against. So I will open up the floor for debate without amendment.
This is kind of a minor point, but, the candidates polling less than 10%, I believe what's intended is receiving less than 10% of the vote in the previous round. We're not actually taking polls, going around and trying to ask people who they support, you know. I just, would think that the wording could be slightly better.
Yes.
Yeah, so I see where it says that. I think the wording about the polling,
Yeah, it says poll, not percentage of the vote.
But you can. We can.
if that's important to the body that we not use the word polling, I think polling is a synonym for balloting, so not sure how big of a deal that is, but if people feel strongly about it, we can change it.
Yeah, so if there's, no, not on the current rules. So,
Right.
yes.
Where's the appendix B that's referenced?
It's Appendix B of the bylaws.
Existing appendix, not an appendix to this report.
Yes.
Is this removing the idea of NOTA completely from the
No, so we actually expanded Rule 12, which deals with NOTA, to clarify how it works in each of the different races.
Okay. So it just removed that paragraph from Rule
So we
7.
removed the current paragraph for Rule 12, but replaced it with an expanded and I would say enhanced version of it.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do on this, leave it to the floor, whatever you guys wanna do. If you want to amend, you can vote it down currently, and then we can open it up for amendment, or you can leave it as is. A no vote on this will take us to a period of amendment. A yes vote, a yay vote, will just amend the bylaws with what we have currently. So I'll leave it to the floor, you guys do it. So we're gonna close debate and take it to a vote. Those in favor of the amendment to the bylaws as presented by the bylaws committee, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
The ayes have it, the motion carries. The bylaws is adopted.
But rules, but the balloting.
That was 2/3.
Is that?
Sounded like it.
She was here, it said no. Shall on that. Now they're just
You're strongly enough to do a division. I heard like 10 people say no. So that,
Like they still have.
okay, I'm gonna, okay, those in favor, please indicate so by raising your hands.
Favor of this.
Yeah, this by law.
Well, you just voted. You said yes last time. Raise your hand.
Okay, y'all can lower your hands. Those opposed? 6, 7, 8. Okay, the ayes have it, the motion carries. I will say you can tell 2/3 by voice, but
All right, proposal 2. So there are currently 2 places in the bylaws that give requirements for being eligible to serve on the executive committee. So in Article 4, Section I, party membership, currently you must have been a member for at least 90 days. And then in Section K, you also have need to have been a delegate to at least one prior convention. Now, at last convention, we changed our seasoning to be 360. It had been 367 days. We changed it to 180. And we think it's kind of weird that the seasoning to be on the XCOM is now, it is still half of the seasoning to even be a delegate. And also, this requirement to have been a delegate to a prior convention would be really hard to enforce, because if someone says, hey, I was a delegate in 2006, we don't really have any records to say whether you really were or not. So we just wanted to harmonize the requirements for being on XCOM with the requirements for being a delegate. So we're increasing the seasoning from 90 days to 180, but taking away the requirement to have been a delegate to a prior LPGA convention. So on behalf of the Bylaws Committee, I move to adopt this amendment to the bylaws.
Is there any debate?
Yes,
Mr. Metz?
the reason for membership. One of the things that we've seen in other organizations and such is that there has been infiltration of subversive organizations that overtake that organization and run it into the ground. So that's why we're having strict requirements in the bylaws prior to your proposed change.
The 300, I'll clarify that, the 367 days is still here. The 90 days.
No, so 367 days season was amended at last year's convention to go to 180.
This is for officers.
Okay.
Yeah, this 367 in this clause
Yeah.
is for officer.
Got it. So the 180 days is actually an increase of 90 days. So it's aligning with our current bylaws as they are. Sorry. Mr. Dolan, I saw your hand first, and then we'll go ahead.
My concern would be particularly for eligibility for executive committee members appointed in interim in case of a vacancy during the between conventions. I would be concerned about a person standing up to run for executive to be chosen by the executive committee to fill the empty slot, who has never been to a state convention ever. That would be my concern.
That's what I was trying to say.
Mr. Craig.
Yeah, I just want to clarify, we're not really debating whether or not we're going from 180 back to 365.
Right.
The debate is just really about if you served on a convention before, or if you're going on XCOM. That's all this is really about, right? I mean, it's actually making it harder to get on the XCOM, not easier, right?
So it's increasing a requirement that's really easy to enforce and taking away a requirement that's a lot harder to enforce. So we're increasing the seasoning from 90 days to 180, but taking away the requirement to have been a delegate to a previous convention.
I have a question here. Wouldn't it be on the person who is seeking to get on the XCOM to prove themselves that they had attended the past convention? We shouldn't have to keep those records. You should have to be able to show, here's me at this convention, here's somebody who saw me at this convention, here's somebody who knew I was there. It's the burden of proof is on the member, not on the body to have to prove that. So I think, personally, I'm fine keeping the up to 180, but keeping that you had to have been to a previous convention. I would like you to at least, have been to one of these before you join the internal governing body as a part. I think that's I would want to amend that, so I would urge to vote this down and let's amend it to 180 days and keep that last convention.
So I've got 2 quick points. One, the wording there is very similar to what just happened in Colorado, where because there's not be 180 days, this is 180 days, it's be 180 days. Which means you have the same problem where someone was a member 30 years ago. So we should probably amend that to be 180 days before. Right, which means that if I was a member in 1998, if I have 180 days in 1998, then maybe I gone for, right. Yeah. Because it is prior to this convention. If you do be 180 days prior, it's 180 days to the right. Right. On Chase's point, I definitely see where Chase is coming from, but the problem is, for instance, like, let's say that I just moved to Georgia, but I've been serving as a treasurer in my state for a decade. I could be very qualified to fill a position on the XCOM. That's not based on whether or not I know Georgia's specific situation. But voting at the convention means that I need to know Georgia's situation. And so I personally think that it's fine to have a shorter thing to serve on XCOM than to serve as a delegate, because you're voting on the people here, which you may not know, but you can already know how to be a treasurer.
Right.
Your point is well taken.
Very well taken. My point is just, we don't have a lot of members. We have a lot of work to do. So we really want to make it so very hard for new people to come in and help. People who are qualified, who bring in real world practical skills that can help us excel.
We're coming up on the 8 minutes, so I'm gonna let everyone know that, the spoken for, I'm not gonna let you speak again.
Tiffany's point, I think that's the whole point of the seasoning requirement, is we need to let people know that they are qualified. We cannot keep letting strangers come in and control our party. So we do need to think back to the people. I think to Kyle's point, there is always an option to make a special exception. We suspend rules all the time. We have somebody come in who's well qualified and just not to stay on. There is an option to suspend the rule temporarily for this particular situation, but I don't think we need our to address the specific situation, this odd situation that they are not happening. I also think people in general will not have the party. So I would say we go no for this.
I just want to make the point that not allowing somebody to be qualified to be on the executive committee, who is like the decision-making body for our organization, is not the same thing as telling somebody not to get involved in sharing their expertise. They can always get involved without being on the decision-making body, and we should welcome those people all the time.
I'm gonna take a chair's privilege on that and say, get involved, find a committee, get on the committee, and do some really fun stuff on the committees, because that's where the real work gets done. XCOM makes decisions for the body, but it's really meetings, right? And so the real work is getting done out there in between those meetings, so. Okay, I'm gonna say we're at that mark. We will take this to a vote, and we can open it to amendments after if the body is open to that. So, we're closing debate. Those in favor of the...
We can add amendments only if this fails.
Correct.
Vote it down and add amendments.
Correct.
Thank you.
Those in favor of the amendment to the bylaws as presented by the committee, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Yay.
The motion fails. Okay, it is now open for amendment.
What's the wording you want to do?
I think that beats all the problem. Right. I can do it for years.
It's not gonna show.
Why did I?
Why did you say that? Ruin everything. Because I think it's telling saying that, now, saying something to do with that, and that.
Let's make a motion.
I can't.
No.
I'm not, okay. The member is right.
I'd like to make a motion to amend to add B before 180.
Is there any objection?
I couldn't, can you repeat, please?
I would like to add the word "the" before 180 days, so that it's clear that it's the half year before the convention and not 880 days from.
My only objection is that we should also add the before 67 for the officer candidates.
Tell you what.
Can
Can you withdraw and make your motion again? There's no second actually, so I need to get a second.
I would like to make the motion for "the" before 180 and 365. That's
Clarification,
Okay.
367?
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion is on adding D before 180 and D before 367. Any objection? Hearing none, the amendment is adopted. We are now back to the bylaws proposal as amended.
Did you want to remove the strike through? You had mentioned you don't like the strike through. Did you want to remove the strike through?
I would like to move to restore the struck through. To amend the proposed text so that the qualifications to serve remain, section K remains.
Mr. Dolan, would you be amenable to moving the text of section K into section I?
I would be very amenable to that idea.
It hasn't been seconded.
Don't do it yet. I revised my motion to move the struck through text, unstriking it, into the section with the rest of it. That is my motion.
Good enough. If your membership lapses,
Mr. Chair,
they don't.
I rise to amend Mr. Dolan's amendment.
That might be a
Okay,
point of
give it
discussion.
just a second. We're gonna wait for it to show up. Be a good point. And then we'll,
Do that now or
there's going to be, so it got seconded, I think. He's going to ask for a debate. He should.
All right, so what I have done here is, all I did was leave out the text that would be duplicated if I moved literally the entire thing into section I. So let me read out what section I would read as my best interpretation of Mr. Dolan's motion. Each member of the executive committee of the LPGA shall have been a member of the LPGA at least the 180 days prior to the election of the executive committee, shall be a member of the LPGA at the time of election to the executive committee, and must first have been a delegate for at least one convention held no more recently than 6 months prior to such service on the executive committee. Special exemptions to the eligibility requirements to the executive committee could be made with 3/4 majority vote of the executive committee. And then the text after that for officers is unchanged.
Doesn't that really mean that I have to be a member for 400 and something days? Because to be a delegate the previous year, I would have had to be a member for 180 days prior.
We can suspend that requirement for delegates. So it's like a. So it's a rule, but it's not a rule, but.
Math ain't math.
So the minimum is basically, even with the suspension, you have to be for 180. Even if we suspend the delegate requirement. But if you have the delegate requirement, not suspended for every convention afterwards. And then,
Yeah, if we allow it, yes. Mr. Metz, I'm gonna give you the floor, you had it. Is there a second? Second, okay. now the amendment is friendly, or it's able to be amended.
Back to section I. Just for clarification at this point, what was read was 6 months in place of the 367 days. Did I hear that correctly?
The 367-day requirement for officers is not being changed.
It's changing the 90 to 180.
And adding the word the.
But then, when he was reading the amendment, he said 6 months, and I was confused.
So that's for members of XCOM that are not officers. That's the only part that's being changed.
Thank you. I withdraw my motion.
If we're adding the word the to the 180, so that's implying that you needed to be a member for the entire 6 months before the convention was held, right?
That's correct.
So what happens if your membership lapses sometime in that 6 months and you immediately renew, but you only have 179 days? Is that, I understand the spirit of putting the in there, but maybe specifying 180 days of the previous year or something like that, so that a 1 or 2 day lapse for you to go put a credit card in on the website, it doesn't tell you when your membership lapses?
As the person that would have to calculate that, please don't do that.
It says tough beans.
The way national membership works, which they don't advertise well, and the way it gets calculated, which doesn't get advertised well, is when your membership lapses, it counts by month. So like, you have until the end of that month to renew. So unless you bought it on literally the last day of the month, you're gonna be fine.
Okay.
Information, we could always, as a body, if somebody had that happen, then we could, as a body, admit somebody who had a clerical error. We can just fix that.
As long as they pay in arrears, right?
Okay. If there's no objection from the body, real quick, we have 3/4 and the fraction 3/4 here, and then 2 sentences later, we have 75%. And that's just gonna annoy me.
Hold on. We have a motion on the floor. Can we do the motion, dispose of the motion first, and then do that?
Can it be friendly to the amendment that's currently on the floor?
Is there any objection?
No objections.
We're gonna let it happen. Okay, the motion on the floor is to take the struck out section and stick it inside of section I. Is there any debate? Are you ready for the question? Those in favor of the amendment to the bylaws proposal, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, the motion carries. Now we are back to the proposal as amended.
All those in favor?
Any debate on this?
Call the question.
I second.
Those in favor of the proposal as amended, the amendment to the bylaws as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, the motion carries. The bylaws are adopted for this proposal as well.
Turn one of those off.
Keeping you awake.
All right, so we have a very interesting section of Appendix A, Rule 1. Section 3, the chair is the final arbiter on questions of procedure and may, in the interests of debate and order, amend these rules at his or her discretion. This struck the bylaws committee as crazy.
Yeah. No, completely
Now, it still is under Roberts, which Roberts rules controls everything that's not specifically in the Georgia rules. It will still be the chair's discretion with the rules, and then he can make an interpretation, and then if the body doesn't agree, then they can appeal the ruling of the chair. That's still going to be in regular Roberts. We're just taking out the ability to what seems like for the chair to amend the rules for any reason in any way that they want.
That's why I ran for chair last time.
Do what I want. All right, the motion is out on the floor. We'll leave it to the floor for debate. None. Is there any objection to this? Hearing none, the motion carries. And the proposal is laid.
I know I was.
Alright, so proposal 4 is a lot longer, but we're doing largely the same thing, which is taking out a lot of the parts of the Georgia rules in Appendix A that are essentially completely duplicative with stuff that's in Roberts already. It's like 95% the same, but 5% a little different, which causes a huge headache when people try to figure out what to do, because if there's a slight change in how something works in the Georgia rules, technically you're supposed to follow that instead of Roberts, which is what everyone is familiar with. So specifically, we are proposing to strike Rule 7 motions and Rule 8 points out of Appendix A of the bylaws, because everything that we did there is in Roberts.
I object.
Okay, we will let you speak against it.
All right.
So we'll open up the debate.
All right, the objection I have is having it in the bylaws like this gives it an easy reference for those who don't carry Robert's Rule of Order around with them in their backpack.
I'll also give a point of information to the body that you can get this nice copy of Robert's Rules of Order in brief, which has very nice summary tables of all the motions that you probably ever want to make most of the time, and like what thresholds and whether they're debatable or not. So they are accessible.
So, furthering my debate is that not everyone has one. Having it here is an easy, quick reference. No reason to strike, in other words.
There's already a lot of, I'm just looking at this proposal, and there's a lot of stuff on here. I don't really have that readily accessible either.
I guess there's roll again. We'll start here. There's a lot of hands, so we're gonna everyone be short. We have 8 minutes. Okay, question first.
How many pages are in that book?
In brief, the full one. I've got, including the indices, 740.
We're not adding 714 pages to our bylaws.
I'm going to speak to the motion for just a couple practical reasons. One, bring us in line with Robert's rules makes it easier that if we do need to have a parliamentary interpretation of our bylaws, it's somebody who's well referenced with Robert's rules and not our slightly different 5% different rules. I also argue that, it's not that much of a change. All this does is just bring it more streamlined, more easy for parliamentarians to understand if they ever have to interpret things here. And the bylaws of the Libertarian Party of Georgia are about as accessible as the Robert's Rules of Order. I just think this cleans it up, streamlines things, and we don't have to be special just to be special, y'all. We can all work within the rules that many organizations work within, and not have to have it slightly 5% open.
First, Mr. McKinney.
My only point was that I find a null value in the argument that having it in the bylaws makes it more accessible when the bylaws come from one source and Robert's rules come from multiple sources, making them more accessible than our bylaws.
That was just a point of inquiry. Were there any specific things that are in here that differ from Robert's rules of the other ordinance?
So one of the main slight differences that the committee was aware of is that in Rule 7, Part 3, it gives a table of motions, and in Section 1, it says only those motions listed below will be recognized. And so the section...
As far as accessibility, and documentation without having to include it in the bylaw. That's just-
Here's the two sheets here. Or it's one sheet of paper.
There are cheat sheets that you can get for components that we have in these participants.
Is there any major differences to like voting thresholds or time limits or anything like that that would affect anything if we just struck this and went by the default? But that procedure's referenced in the bylaws?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to close debate. We'll take this to a vote. Those in favor of the proposal, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Proposal is adopted.
We still have to talk about the first proposal.
Step out for just a second. Right. Yes.
All right, you can't really see all the text on the screen there, but for anyone who was at the convention in 2024, we amended Article 8, Section B, so that you couldn't amend the section of the bylaws that says that Article 2, which is the statement of the principles and objectives of the bylaws, you can only amend that with 7/8. But the part of the bylaws that said you could only amend it with 7/8 was in a different section of the bylaws that maybe you could have amended with 2/3. So we specified we also apply the 7/8 threshold to the part of the bylaws that had the 7/8 threshold in it. But then the bylaws committee realized that the same issue also we have with the statement of principles of the platform, which also takes 7/8 to change, but the requirement of the 7/8 is in a place that doesn't require 7/8. So we're just amending Article 8, Section B to say, I'll just read the full text of what it will become. Article 2, principles and objectives shall require a 7/8 majority of the delegates present and voting at the annual convention. This threshold also applies to amending, and this is a new part, the statement of principles of the platform in accordance with Article 7, Section 1, and to amending Article 8, Section B, which was a change from 2 years ago. So I will move to make this motion on behalf of I will move to amend the bylaws in this way on behalf of the platform, the bylaws committee.
Okay, we will now open up the debate without amendments. Would anyone like to speak to the motion?
Point of information, so this will make it more difficult for someone to change our statement of principles as part.
Yes.
There we go, that's all I need.
Would anyone else like to speak? Is there any objection to closing debate?
No.
Hearing none, debate's now closed. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This motion passes.
Bylaws committee.
Thank you.
Libertarians, you're not arguing over civil war.
All right, you're not quite done with me yet, because now we have platform. So I believe the platform is available on the website using the QR code there on the slide, and there may be paper copies of it floating around as well.
Okay, we will go to proposal number 1.
Yeah, so while we've got people scanning the QR code, I'll just give some introductory remarks. Thank you to William Richards and Tom Blooming for serving on the platform committee this year. And I'd also be remiss if I did not acknowledge the work of last year's platform committee, because all but one of the proposals that this committee adopted were the proposals from last year's platform committee that we didn't get to. So we figured there is no need to reinvent the wheel, so thanks again to that committee and its chair, Christine Alston. So proposal 1 is the only one that's not from last year, but we thought it was timely, and this was a proposal from the 2024 National Platform Committee that was not entertained there, but we thought it would be good to drop into our state platform. So we're striking the current section 2.5 government debt and replacing it with the following. Government debt is wholly illegitimate as it burdens the people without their consent. We support repudiating all government debts at all levels as a means of both relieving unjust financial burdens and limiting the growth of government. So we're just explicitly saying the best way of dealing with government debt is by repudiating it. I will make the motion to amend the platform on behalf of the platform committee.
Second.
Perfect. Doesn't even need it, but we'll take it. All right, we'll open it up to debate.
I have 2 objections. First is that the suggested amendment removes the text that strongly emphasizes that the budget should be balanced exclusively by cutting expenditures and not by raising taxes or increasing the money supply. I really think it's important that we emphasize that we don't support raising taxes or increasing the money supply. Also, my concern is, does reputing the debt mean that we encourage the government to default on debt, which may have been, which would injure those who have, who are owed by government, which may be bondholders, retirees.
Is that a question directed at me?
That is a question. That is a question.
So yes, it does mean we're encouraging the government to default on debt, which would adversely impact everyone that holds some. So if that's
people holding treasury bonds, or in their retirement accounts.
So that is a pressure point. If you don't think this is what we should be supporting, then definitely don't vote for it. But that is what we're saying.
It should also be noted that inflation is a soft way to repudiate the debt, so it is the same effect either way. It's just being honest about it or not.
Yeah, I'm gonna run for Senate here, done it 3 times. And I think it's a tremendous opportunity for the Libertarian Party to step forward to solve the problems of our country right now. Okay, this is the biggest problem we've got, financial problems. And smart people understand this. Very, very smart people, all right? And this is a way to get in with very smart people who have power, who have money, to make changes. What exists now is what should exist. Section 2.5. This proposal is crazy. I don't want anything to do with crazy, okay? You talk about repudiating all government debts. That's when people say the libertarians are crazy. I'm not crazy, and I don't want to be part of the crazy party. So this is just stupidity. I'm sorry. What exists now is what should exist perfectly.
Thank you. Mr. Grant.
I'm speaking against as well, so if you wanted to, if somebody wants to speak for, or I can take it. Then I will. All right, yeah. I just think it is really important to keep that original language about the making sure that it isn't by increasing tax or by increasing the money supply, because that's the bullshit politicians are pulling right now when they say that they're, gonna fix the debt problem. They claim that while doing these two things, which we know doesn't end up doing that, right? So I don't want to throw that out because it's really important. And the what we're replacing it with is just sort of like, I don't know, it's almost like feeling words rather than like actually calling out what's going on. And so I like what's there already, so I can go no on this.
To Mr. Dolan's points, with regard to the government defaulting on debts owed to bondholders, should we amend the amendment to specify that those who hold office as well as federal employees should pay the debt themselves? Because my intention in suggesting this amendment was to imply that we are not in favor of passing on the debt to the taxpayer. Because if any of us consent to the existence of the state in the first place, and therefore being taxed to pay off the debt that our government doesn't approve.
Yeah, so we're currently in a non-amendable portion of this, but if you would like to encourage the body to vote for an amendment, you can encourage everyone to vote no and then propose an amendment. So I'll allow that after we complete this section of it. We go back here.
Yeah, I'll actually speak in favor. First off, the Federal Reserve banking system is a criminal organization, and the absolute best way to bring them down is to repudiate their debt and not pay them on what they say we owe them. I'll also point out that clarifications on not increasing taxes and not increasing the monetary supply are covered in sections 2.4 and 2.7 of the current platform respectively. That's all, thank you.
My reasoning, I find both languages amenable, but I think the current language is the platform, not the revision, does speak to actual solutions, which is something that candidates, when they're running for office, need to be able to provide. And saying, we support balancing this budget, we support not increasing taxes, not increasing the monetary supply, and we don't think government should incur debt. All of those things are things we can sell to individual voters as we have solutions. We have a path forward. Just saying government debt is illegitimate does not provide any solution for somebody who might be looking at the Libertarian Party as a party that might be willing to work to fix problems and not just sit here and talk about what the problems are. Which is why I do think the language of 2.5 as it currently stands is better than the amended language. I believe that the Federal Reserve is criminal as well. I believe that much of this is wrong, but I also believe that saying that government should not incur debt covers that statement as well, in addition to having real solutions in 2.5. So I would urge that we vote this change down and keep it as it currently stands.
I actually think both languages suck.
Libertarian.
Yeah, the true.
If you look at how 2.5 is, saying that we are not going to raise taxes or increase money supply, like if we go back, we all are of the opinion that at least the overwhelming majority of government services are illegitimate. They shouldn't be happening in the first place. If they do happen, we've seen historically where taxes came from originally and how they're supposed to be used. Taxes are intended to pay for things like if we are forced into war to defend ourselves. So if we can't raise taxes in the event of a war, that's not a good amendment, because if suddenly the country goes bankrupt because we got attacked, that's a problem. On the other hand, if we say we're not going to pay any of the debts that are there, suddenly that unjust burden does get passed to other people. But some of those other people have also bought into the broken financial system in the first place. So who are we protecting here? What is the purpose of this platform plank as a whole? If the goal is government debt bad, we're going to fix it in a worse way, or we're going to fix it by a worse way. Those are both bad.
I just want to say to Chase's point, I literally just found this out by Googling it. Debt repudiation is a technical term for, like, basically saying you're not going to pay bills, right? I think the problem that I have with this new language is that it feels very like libertarians don't like debt, so that's what we think. Right, like there's no, like I like what Chase said when he said the first one feels like action and the second one doesn't. And I think the reason that it doesn't is because nobody realizes what debt repudiation is. If that makes sense.
I'm gonna speak against this for similar reasons to what Chase raised and what Alan Buckley raised. And understand that the language, proposed language, completely agree. Nobody in this room is more mature than me. Okay? And I got the history, to prove it. But we have to understand that our real work is not on us, our real work is out there. And the people that stand out there in front of us, the rest of the world, are people that have done the work like Chase has done, and Alan has done, and Ted Metz, Ryan Graham has done, and others in this room. You have to take into account what they have to deal with. It's been my own personal opinion about how I would deal with it if I was a final decider. I don't think it'd be a consideration. I think that probably the original language, go back and rework this whole idea to a platform statement that shows our compassion. Okay? That, as Danny has pointed out, people that are dependent on how things are right now, we have to offer them solutions. And even though it's complicated, we have to do that. We have to take a different role and solve it. Otherwise, we just say it's repudiate the debt. Like Alan says, everybody else comes in for crazy. And so, I don't mind being called crazy. No source of that in my life. But Alan faces.
I want to go out and get all sorts of meetings across the state with this behind me, because I don't believe it. It's just a bunch of crap.
Yeah, so I'm speaking against this. Let's go back to the language. Let's rework it in a future platform committee in a way that shows our compassion. That comes down to, we're going to take care of all these people, and then we're going to skip the death. That's good. But it's going to have to be more nuanced details in the platform.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if there's any other debate. It seems pretty clear how this is gonna go. Tell you what, let's just debate. Those in favor of the proposal as shown,
Yeah.
Please indicate so by saying aye. Those opposed?
Nay. Nay.
Yeah, the nays have it.
Yeah.
You want to open it up to amendments?
Yeah, don't recognize.
Right, it's just repudiated.
Moving on.
No longer exists.
You're absolutely right.
I had a request. The calling the question or moving the previous question is a very valid motion, but if there is no debate on the floor, if there's nothing that anyone is saying, if you call the question, then we have to vote on closing debate. And then we have to vote on the actual motion itself. So it actually takes us more time to do that than just closing the debate. So you can, if you don't want to call the question, you can nudge me to say, hey, it looks like the debate is over. So maybe if we were done, we could be done. So that is one way, or I can just close debate, and then we can just move forward with it. Also, if we hit our time limit, we immediately close debate and then move forward.
Point of order. The debate is supposed to go back and forth between pro. If we were to enforce that, it would become quickly evident that there are more pro or no more against debates. I think that would wrap it up much quicker. There's no reason to keep arguing at the same time.
Proposal 2, this is a modification to Plank 3.1 National Defense. We would be changing it to say, the United States should avoid entangling alliances and attempts to police the world. We oppose any form of compulsory service, including the draft, and condemn military actions that unjustly endanger lives, especially those of civilian non-combatants. We support a non-interventionist national defense of the United States against attacks. I move to amend the platform on behalf of the platform committee.
Would you like to speak to it?
No.
I have no words. All right, I will open it up to debate.
I'm gonna go that. So I understand the response for non-interventionism. I have a problem with it because, for instance, if the police showed up at my neighbor's house and they broke into my neighbor's house to take them away, I would feel compelled to defend my neighbor. Obviously, a country is not the same thing as an individual, but by stating that we support a non-interventionist national defense, I think that it makes it isolationist or atomistic in a way that is further than intended. I think that actually makes it less clear. If, for instance, a world war broke out and someone's attacking Mexico and not attacking us, they're at our border, do we say, oh, well, they're attacking Mexico? That's not our problem. That seems ridiculous. If the people of a country so choose to fight for it, and the country says, okay, we're going to organize that, but people want to go there, and we're going to military service, that seems reasonable. I think that the part where we don't stand for compulsory service, including the draft, takes care of the concept that we shouldn't be going into places, because that should be true for the soldiers too. The soldiers should not be being treated as objects to go spend for the military doesn't come. So the non-interventionism sounds good until you think about the part where like some people live on the border of Mexico or Canada. So do we not defend them because they're just over the border? It's not interventionism.
I think the intervention is language here. It's meant to deal with situations such as Venezuela. Right in, grab Europe, pull out. That's different than the situation you're mentioning where we need to do something to defend ourselves.
But even in the case of Maduro, is anyone actually upset that Maduro's been taken out? The problem there is that we are stepping in to take over Venezuela.
Yeah, I'm gonna call this to order. You must be recognized by the chair to speak, so I will remind the body that that is the case.
I want to speak in favor of this motion. The reason being is, as libertarians, we believe in no unjust aggression against individuals, and we should expect the same of our national government. If there are people who are on the border of Mexico or Canada, the second any aggression travels across our border, we have a complete right to defend ourselves at that point, because we're not intervening in anybody, we are now defending ourselves. We have been the policemen of the world my entire life, and unless somebody is older than World War I, your entire life, we have been the world's policemen. It is imperative that the Libertarian Party of the United States contrasts itself with the two warmongering parties that are currently in power in Washington, D.C., and to stand on our principles and say, we will not support an interventionist foreign policy. We will not support wars. It doesn't matter whether it is taking one guy out of the middle of the night and taking over a country, or getting us into a quagmire for 2 decades. It's illegitimate either way. And I think we should stand up as the only anti-war party currently in the United States on our principles. Thank you.
I guess we're going.
I would like to speak against the motion. This says basically that if China wants to bring nuclear weapons to Cuba, we can't say no. And therefore, I object to this proposal.
I also object to this motion. I think Chase was advocating for it, because he didn't want us to be policemen for the world, but that language is only in previous. Oh no, it's in there. A lot of this is very similar, but being able to defend is pretty high up there, as opposed to being non
proactively engaged in securing our welfare.
If somebody attacks my brother, they got something, coming. But that, I can consider that defense. But, or if I was attacked, I guess. But yeah, I'm in support of keeping
So I'll speak in favor, mostly just because I'm hearing a lot of straw man arguments against that if we were to allow nuclear missiles to show up in Cuba, that this platform would stand against that. Absolutely no, it doesn't. Mostly because China's not a defense adversary. They're an economic adversary, sure. But I think that goes back to the idea of policing the world. We should let China put nukes in Cuba if they want to. And what we should do in response is bolster our own national missile defense system if we feel that that's a threat to our safety. I think this language of this change is worded great, that to support a non-interventionist national defense of the United States would be just that, not going elsewhere to establish our own well-being. Do it here at home.
You speaking against? Speaking for?
Yeah, I can.
We're gonna go ahead first, just because.
All right, so I'd like to remind everybody that, when they say interventionists, we need to be here. Almost every war for the last 150 years was started on lies. Back from, the Bay of, Havana, Vietnam, sinking of Lusitania. We get into wars because of lies. If we be in a war is to not be, led like shit into if we're going to need to be in.
So, if we called a straw man, but all the arguments that we made before considered straw man. It's exactly that. No one is saying that what the government has gotten us into in the past has been good or correct. What's being said is that there are absolutely times when a tyrannical government attacks someone. No one's going to stand against them because they're big and who they're attacking is small. And having someone else who's going to step in and say, well, I've got a baby cow, is all you need to stop that. The threat of someone else who can do violence to you is often enough to stop. That's why we believe in the Second Amendment. Non-interventionism means that if you're watching someone have their wallet stolen, but you don't think you can pull your bill to defend, that's absurd. That's absolutely ridiculous. If I watch anyone in here getting their stolen, getting their wallet stolen, I'm pulling my gun. I'm defending that person. And if the countries around us are getting attacked, or anyone in the world is being attacked, we should consider doing the same. As long as our soldiers understand what they're getting into, and our government isn't lying to us in the times they do, it is important to defend each other. Because if we don't defend each other, whoever has the biggest stick automatically wins on the case of non-interventionism. Not all war is illegitimate. They can start by someone else.
I see two hands. In favor, and non-interventionism is in both clauses. So I think that the language is better than the new version, but non-intending alliances at the defense is this other clause.
Avoiding things in place, non-interventionism is not. They're different things. That's the entire.
One speak in favor. So, for one thing, the proposed language is stronger, and I think that is necessary for what might be one of the, if not the biggest issues of our time. So, as for the question of, say, use in Cuba or Mexico, well, what's to say that it doesn't constitute national defense? I mean, maybe that's debatable, but so long as we state that we do support national defense, I don't think that implies ruling that out. As for Mr. Davis's objection, yes, if I see someone's, I'm trying to hurt my friend, yes, they will have hell to pay. I will put 10 bullets in them if I must. However, we're not talking about individuals here. We are talking about nations. Yes, our soldiers, in theory, know what they're getting themselves into, know what they're signing up for. Assuming you're not conscripted, which, of course, but what about the taxpayer? Should the taxpayer be burdened by interventionism? Say Brazil attacks Peru. Okay, that's their hemisphere. It's a terrible thing. It is a violation of the dam. But is it not also a violation of the dam for our government to take our treasure and spend it to defend Peru from Brazil?
Can I get clarification on something? I'll allow it. Okay, this last sentence, is that saying that we should not defend ourselves against attack?
No, it says we shouldn't intervene, but we should only defend ourselves. We shouldn't.
It says that we support non-intervention defense against attacks.
Yeah, meaning we support being able to defend ourselves against attacks, but not offensively intervening in other nations. We can still have a defense.
I read it as non-intervening.
Sorry, it's not recognized as like that.
I'm going to give preference to our committee chair.
So, just listening to the discussion, definitely still would support passing this as is, but I wonder if to alleviate some concerns about, what happens if something happens really, really close to us, does this platform mean that we can't support doing something about it? I would say even as written, the phrase there at the end, non-interventionist national defense, still doesn't mean we literally could never go outside of our own borders for any reason. I don't think it means that, but I do wonder if this fails, if people would be interested in adding some kind of explicit endorsement of issuing letters of marque and reprisal for handling these sorts of cases, where it's people really want to go in and prevent some kind of bad thing from happening, but we don't to send the full force of our own military.
That is definitely a possibility, and I will open it up to that after we get to the voting portion. We only have a couple more minutes, so I'd say for anyone be brief. But I see 1, 2, 3, and then we'll work on anyone else.
So I heard a beautiful speech by Chase, and I definitely agree with Kyle. Chase, you had one thing that I really liked that's not up there. You said unjust, right? Unjust is a powerful word. We are libertarians. We believe in individual freedoms. It also means that we have to take up for one another and make sure that we're protecting one another's freedoms. And that's not just here. We have to be that around the world. It has to be our found. And yes, you're not going to wait until it's in your yard before you start getting it out. Sometimes we will have to enter into just causes to defend individuals who are being oppressed. And it might not be at our factory. It might be on the other side of the road. But I don't think that we can tell ourselves we cannot defend individuals.
Yeah, just speaking in support, because reading these, I at first couldn't figure out the difference, and then I realized that the only difference I could find is that the new verbiage calls out endangering civilian non-combatants, and as a humanist, and that's the root of where I come to libertarianism from. I really like the addition of that language, so I support it.
Mr. Underwood.
I do like some of the changes to this, but I wanted to point out that non-interventionism is not the same as isolationism. We're still, supporting free trade. We still be involved. We can still our default position is in armed conflict. We absolutely can make exceptions, but the default should always be that we do not involve ourselves in conflicts with others.
All right, that concludes our time. So this will go to a vote. Looking to amend, that will be available after this vote. So if you would like to amend it, you can vote no. If you don't like it, you can vote no. If you do like it, obviously vote yes. So those in favor of the proposal as presented, say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
The ayes have it. Motion carries. And that proposal is adopted.
At this point, can we amend it?
No, it's not adopted.
If you want to do 2/3, you can reconsider something previously adopted, but only if you voted in the opposite direction.
I believe that the body can propose additional.
Yeah, in other business. Okay, got it. And it would still be a 2/3, but it would be reconsidering something, which has the same effect as a bylaws, so it's 2/3 either way.
All right.
Proposal 3, this is a modification to Plank 2.0 economic liberty. So the new language is as follows. The economic liberty to trade and transact is inherent to the individual. Libertarians advocate for free markets and oppose a regulatory administrative state that interferes with individuals' rights to voluntarily exchange goods and services, enter into contracts, or decline participation in transactions. Free markets create abundant opportunities and allocate resources in the most efficient manner without violating property rights. The only proper role of government in the economic realm is to protect property rights, adjudicate disputes, and provide a legal framework in which voluntary trade is protected. We recognize the right of people to manage their resources according to their own principles or preferences. We therefore oppose interference in voluntary trade and forceful redistribution of resources by taxation, regulation, government spending, and inflation of the currency. So all of the planks that end in point 0 are introductions to entire sections of the platform. So we are, this would be expanding the paragraph that's there now, but it seems like a suitable place to do it because it introduces our entire economic liberty section. So on behalf of the platform committee, I move to amend the platform this way.
All right, we are now in debate. Would you like to speak to it? You already did. He considers that speaking to it. So the floor is open.
I would speak in opposition to this amendment purely for the fact that the market as it exists is not truly free and is run by massive swaths of individuals who control massive parts of the market, and that a platform of our party should be returning economic viability to individuals and taking it away from conglomerates and corporations that seek to set the rules for the rest of us.
I would counter that by saying that the platform point does not say that we advocate for the market as it is, but for free markets. And that part of the reason that the market as it is not free is because of government efforts which in support of particular conglomerates who are buddies with the politicians to redistribute and restrict and do all of the things that you object to. So therefore this, as I see it, this supports moving for a more free market.
May I respond?
Yes.
My only opposition to that is that moving towards a free market is what they claim to have been doing for the last 30, 40 years since Reagan was in office. Every step we've taken that has caused the problems we have now was taken in the vein of making the market freer, removing tax burden, removing regulation, decentralizing authority in these manners. And all of those things did the exact opposite. Instead of decentralizing authority, we've concentrated it into massive corporations and holding firms and private equity firms that own upwards, like State Street, Vanguard, and BlackRock own 83% of the market collectively. Like, we have concentrated, it is no longer a free market, and all of these regulations that we're proposing with this plank would further the goals of allowing these people to take more control.
So, the gentleman's objection. Is it not the case with many laws and regulations that we don't like, that the stated goal is that, well, first of all, that it's for our well-being somehow, and in many cases, that it secures freedom? Yes, of course, particularly Republicans are mad about selling economic intervention as, well, free market capitalism. So therefore, should we not, does that mean we shouldn't state that we are in favor of free markets? Unless the point is that the language needs to specify that we are against specific rhetoric used by politicians.
I think what I'm trying to say is that the idea of free market policies are what got us here, and that economic interventionism isn't the answer for that. However, I take issue with the idea that I don't think we should regulate individuals economically, but businesses absolutely.
Okay. Reminder to the body, must be recognized to speak. Oh gosh, there's a lot. We'll start here. I saw a hand over here before.
I just wanted to reiterate Zane's point that this proposal is changing the introduction to the giant section of the platform on economic liberty, which you can find at lpgeorgia.com/platform.
I believe. Slash platform, I think, is the one. Go.
It seems like the debate that's happening right now is less about the wording on the screen and more about just the general idea of whether or not libertarians are the real free market party, and whether the Republicans have taken over that language, and whether or not we should use the language that they use if corrupted.
Yes, one of the things that we've had in the past year in this state, I don't know if you remember, there was a pipeline that got hijacked by some.
I'm saying you're right.
What?
I'm saying you're right.
And we were without, there was a shortage of gasoline. Joe Biden went on the, publicly said, we've got to stop against price gouging. And the price is, that's basically happened during the Roman Empire. What happened was their denarii became devalued because the government was spending too much money. They didn't want to raise taxes, and they didn't want to cut their programs, and it became devalued, so they started doing price fixing. And that's the most dangerous thing right now. Because if somebody, if I'm in a hurricane, like if this happened in Florida, some guy who sells generators and he's charging double for what he pays for them, they put us in jail for that. These are things that we've got to protect ourselves against. We can't have the government, which Joe Biden was doing, fixing prices. He said you can only charge this much. One of the things that they were talking about was fixing prices on toilet tissue during the COVID epidemic. The supply and demand is basic for a free society. If people talk about capitalism and how evil it is, but that's essentially what governs everything. Government should have nothing to do with price fixing. They do it in the Department of Agriculture. They do it in everything. They try to say, oh, you don't want to charge this much for something. We've got to be able to let the government, businesses or whatever, charge whatever they need to, and you have a right as a citizen to buy or not buy. You decide, well, they're just getting too expensive, I'm not going to do that.
I actually rise in favor of this amendment because, again, it is just the opening paragraph to a section that details more in depth about everything else. But I would propose the addition of the word after the right of individuals to form any voluntary business entity, comma, or enter any voluntary contract. That would probably fix the whole flavor of what we're trying to do with this particular paragraph.
Okay, we are currently not in the amendment phase, but if the body is amenable to that, that is a possibility. If you wanted to do that, you could vote no, and then we could make the amendment.
I want to speak in favor of this for a couple reasons why I think this language is improved upon the previous language. First off, that first line, the economic liberty to trade and transact is inherent to the individual. That doesn't mean an American individual, that doesn't mean a black individual or white individual, like older, it means all individuals. Libertarian rights are universal, and so is your right to transact in the free market. And I think the end really takes care of a lot of the issues that people are talking about. but it says we therefore oppose interference in voluntary trade and forced redistribution of resources by taxation, regulation, government spending, and inflation. It covers our principles very well, but also reiterates that these rights are not given to us by a political party or a political platform. It's given to us by our right of being born into this world. And I think it's improved language, and I would vote for this thing, for this motion. Your answer.
I like the original, political society. Also, that last statement, you created a good proposition, very bureaucracy, busy. I don't think it's a big deal either way, they're both good, I agree with his last point.
There's no further debate. We will take this to a vote. Those in favor of the proposal as presented by the committee indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it, the motion carries, and the proposal is adopted.
So it is now 12:05, which is around the time that I think people were hoping to have lunch. I am going to make a motion to amend the agenda to place the remainder of the platform committee report at the end of the agenda.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. This is non-debatable suspension of the rules. So those in favor of moving this report, the remainder of it, to the end of business, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, the motion carries. We will now have lunch, and then the rest of this is at the and Mr. Lacey has an announcement as well.
Trickled in since we started. What allows you to vote, and we're doing a lot of voting when we come back from lunch, what allows you to vote is the sticky name tag with the torch sticker on it. So if you are currently a member, think that you should be able to vote but do not have that, please come and see me so I can credential you in.
One last thing, just a second before you head out. We're going to talk about lunch and the speaker and everything, and then we'll.
You want to burn time by auctioning off the calendar?
Are we adjourned?
No, he said hold off. No, not adjourned.
Yeah, me and Beth, there's a disadvantage.
Yeah, he said give me just a minute. He said give me just a minute. I'll come back to without lunch and the speaker, and then we're taking it.
What's that? You are for the, we're getting ready to have lunch. Everybody who's bought a meal package, I believe it was the People's Patriot, was the combo deal. If you got tickets from me already, if anybody has purchased a meal package and hasn't collected their tickets, please come see me at the registration desk, and we'll get you all sorted out. But the box lunches are only for people who have paid for them in advance. We did get a few extras in case people wanted to buy them last minute. So if you're hungry and you see the great food that everybody else is eating, and you would like some, also please come see me as well. But I want to make sure that we get that out. This QR code is for the scavenger hunt photo contest thing. We're trying to gather enough photos of everybody doing fun things so that we can post it for next year and throughout on our social media. So if you would take a moment sometime during this little recess to scan the code and participate in that. Yeah, we're gonna go probably, give us like 10 minutes here. Everybody go use the restroom, go get your food, all that kind of stuff. James will be back in here. Whether you're eating or not, you can be in here. It's free to attend the speaker thing, so you don't have to worry about buying a package for that. But if you would like to donate to the party, lpgeorgia.com/donate or to support or whatever it is. I forget. All right, that's it. See you guys. What's up?
What time do we need to get back?
Just give us about 10 minutes.
Are we adjourned?
We said lunch was an hour, so let's say 1:08.
108, and come back in here.
Are we adjourned?
Yeah, bring it on. Hey, we got an auction.
Hey guys, before you leave lunch, one of the things we do here at the Libertarian Party is want to support our candidates. We have a candidate who's running in the 14th district, Marjorie Taylor Greene's old seat, that's Andrew Underwood. And I want to make sure we support Andrew. And so instead of just giving him money, because right now he does not have an account set up, he can't take your money yet, but what I can do is auction this here calendar off and take whatever money I win from it, I